Greg Uland with Reynolds, and this is Connected, live from the NADA show here in Dallas, Texas. Today I get to talk with Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln. He's the Chief Operating Officer there down in St. Augustine, Florida. So Ed, thanks so much for taking time to talk.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely. So tell me, I guess, a little bit about your background. I was reading your bio. We hadn't met before, so I was kind of reading your bio. You've been in the industry for a long time, came up in fixed operations, soft spot in my heart in fixed ops, and now you've moved into a role probably a year and a half ago or so as the Chief Operating Officer at Bozard Ford Lincoln. So tell me a little bit about your path and how you got there.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's a story that a lot of people like to hear, and it shows them opportunity that they can grow as well. But I started in this business as a tech apprentice way back in 1992, so it's been a couple of days, and worked my way up to run a team, and then taking over as service manager, and taking over as store manager, and started at Bozard about 10 and a half years ago as fixed operations director, and moved into the COO role, like you said, a little over a year and a half ago, and it's just been onwards and upwards.
Yeah. So what was that transition like? I mean, your responsibilities grow, I would assume, exponentially when you go from fixed ops director, where you have a ton of responsibility in the back end of the store, running everything and making sure that you're as profitable as can be, to, I'd assume, and you tell me, but overseeing essentially operations across the entire organization.
Well, it kind of ties together. In most stores, sales is the focus, and we're a fixed ops driven store. Sales is still a focus, but ultimately it's about people. It's about putting people in the right place where they can feed off of their strengths. So yes, I took on responsibilities of the variable side of the business, but the development of those people is exactly the same. Leadership carries over no matter what department, what industry it is. And my main role is to bring the best out of our people that we have and allow them to grow beyond their wildest potential that they thought they had.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess let's talk about that a little bit. How do you do that? It's not, in so many cases, you see an individual, and as an individual too, you think, all right, I just got to show up, and I got to go to work, and I got to figure this stuff out, and I will either be given opportunities, or I got to create them, or I got to grow. But there's a lot of I, right? And people take ownership, and that's a good thing. But as a leader, how do you embrace kind of providing those opportunities and helping them get better? Because for a lot of folks, all of us really, sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, right?
That's correct. And everybody has their wheelhouse that they can perform in, and it's identifying that, because most of the time they don't even know what it is, and they got to be pushed out of their comfort zone a bit. But what I need them to bring, it's all intentional, it's connecting with them, but what I need them to bring is attitude and effort. If they bring the right attitude and they bring the effort, the sky's the limit for any of them.
Yeah, that's good. And we actually, that's a great saying. We have a little saying. It was coined by our Chief Customer Ambassador, Dave Bates, that he adds extra to the end of that, right? So attitude, effort, and extra, just giving that little bit extra in everything that you do, it makes a huge difference.
A little extra push, yes.
That's right.
That's when you break outside that comfort zone.
Yeah, yes. Definitely. Well, Ed, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about specifically as well is cybersecurity, compliance, FTC safeguards. It's been, kind of an up and down roller coaster, right? You go back, it's been over a year now when the amendments to the safeguards rule were announced. We had a year to get things implemented. Then we got another 6 months, so in June coming up, and it'll be about 5 months now. We'll need to have a lot of things in place. As Chief Operating Officer, I'm sure you've had your hands well into this thing. And the timing, I don't know if the timing was coincidental, but this probably landed in your lap right when you were promoted.
Well, dealers are, as a rule, a little sloppy with paperwork, and we'll leave stuff sitting around and think, well, I'll get to that and get there.
To be fair, sorry to interrupt, but to be fair, it's not just dealers. I don't think we need to say it's just us, right? That's people in general.
It's very highlighted in a dealer because there's so much going on. But really, we're exposing people's information out there, and we see what can happen if somebody gets hacked or whatever else, and we don't need to provide that information for that to happen. So we've embraced the FTC thing coming along, and we was ready for it in December. A lot of dealers was not, so it was a blessing that it got pushed out till June 9th, but don't wait till June 9th. If you haven't sought some help to be prepared for that, you have to do it, because you don't want to be stuck with the fines that come on the other side of it.
Yeah, and compliance is one piece of it, and it's a very important piece, obviously. But the underlying thing that we're trying to solve is cybersecurity, right, and protecting that information. So finding a way to do that, I think, has been important for a lot of years, and this compliance piece has just amplified it.
It's amplified it, but it's for our customers' best interest. It's for our best interest, because if we get hacked as a store, ultimately it can shut us down, because everything we do is tied to a computer. It's tied to what we do with you guys, everything, how we communicate with the manufacturer. And if we get hacked, then all that stops. And if all that stops, then business stops. Well, when business stops, the bills still are coming,
right.
And we still have a staff that we got to take care of. So we can't let that happen. We have to do everything we can to protect ourselves to prevent that from happening.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit and how you have made it a priority, because I view it, if I think about it in kind of a cynical light, right? It's like selling insurance, right? Yeah. Something bad might happen someday, but it hasn't happened so far. Do I really need it, right? Or can I get by with just the bare minimum? What's your view on that? How do you view it to make it a priority?
You're exactly right. It's just like an insurance. We all have medical insurance, but we don't want something to happen, but we have to be prepared if something does. And just like car insurance, and that's what this is a layer of insurance that allows us to protect ourselves and have some safeguards in place if something was to happen, where we catch it as early as possible, because we're still not stopping something from happening, but catching it early may prevent the damage from being done.
Yeah. So can you talk maybe a little bit about your view on the difference between cybersecurity, protecting the information, and compliance, meaning documenting what you're doing and being able to prove what you're doing? Because to me, those are two different things. I mean, they're related certainly, and they're connected. And the compliance piece of it is sort of forcing the action on the cybersecurity piece, but they're not one and the same. I don't think anyway. I don't know what your perspective is.
From the cybersecurity standpoint, that is very much we're targets, because we have so much stuff that we do with our computers, and a lot of times we just go through the motions, and here's the email, we can open it up, we check it, and we do whatever. Well, the exposure that creates, it can be ferocious, and it can really shut us down. So the cyber piece, there's always things that you're being targeted for, and all of our stores get targeted. It's whether we have the things in place, the training in place for our people, and the right safeguards in place to catch those. And then the compliance standpoint, that is 100% for our consumers. That's to take care of our consumers' information, make sure that when they give us their information, that we can keep it secure for them, and let them have the peace of mind that we're doing that for them.
So what types of training pieces do you have in place? Because there's a lot of different programs out there. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can do it in-house. You can hire somebody to do it. You can do formal training with a group. You sit everybody down. You walk them through things. You can do computer training. You can do testing, right, where you send out an email and see who clicks on it. But what types of things are you doing? What's been easiest to implement? What's been difficult but rewarding? I guess what types of things are you working on?
Well, we talked about earlier about growing people and leadership, and everybody has their strengths. Well, you feed off of your strengths, and you can do those things. It's not our strength for compliance. It's not our strength for cybersecurity. So that's where we lean on guys like you. That is your strength. Sure. And then you can come in and you can offer those things for us. The training's there that you guys have put together. But if we try to do it, then we're just putting pieces out there and putting Band-Aids over stuff that we think may be vulnerable to us, but may not actually be. Or we may not put a Band-Aid over something because we think it's open, and that's the piece that catches us. So I would give anybody the advice to hire a professional. This can go way too deep if you don't.
Yeah, no, and it is. I mean, it is kind of like, it's use that same analogy with insurance, right? I mean, you can self-insure if you want to, or you can pay somebody else to take care of that massive bill when it comes.
If you can scale, you can self-insure.
There you go.
If things happen, that's one thing. But most of us is running 1, 2, maybe 10 operations, and you can't scale big enough for that. No. You got to bring in somebody that can really help you, and I appreciate you guys becoming partners with us to be able to do that. Yeah. And it allows us all to plan for our business rather than protect ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, well, and that's your bread and butter, right? You talk about strengths. It's like running a store, pretty darn good at. But there's some things that just aren't.
It's not my wheelhouse.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So what's been the response from your team? Because sometimes this stuff can be a bit of a pain, right? It's like, I got to take this test again, or why are we doing this? Why is everybody going over? It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to happen. I already know this stuff. You hear that over and over. At least they say it to each other, right? So how has your team taken it, and how have you handled it?
So for our store, it's been a little easier because we're always doing some type of training. We're creating Bozard University this year. I've already had a tech development program. And when there's always these levels of training coming, they expect it. And they just embrace it and roll with it. When it's that once a year or once every other year or twice a year thing where, hey, we got to get this done, then they kind of get somebody to hook them up, take care of it for them or whatever else. But it's making it a priority. Yeah. And it's a priority with our store.
Good. Talk about that. You just mentioned it, so I want to dive into it. Bozard University. What does that mean? Explain that, because that could. I don't know. I want to hear about it a little bit. What you're doing, what you're developing, and what that's going to look like for you.
We've had a tech development program now for about 8 years.
Okay.
There has been a shortage of technicians in this industry for the 30 years that I've been in it.
Right.
And we really haven't done a whole lot to bring new people in. So about 8 years ago, we developed a program, we call it TDP in-house, Tech Development Program, where we train individuals from high school or from some kind of technical school to become technicians.
Okay.
And we want to expand that because that's been hugely successful for us. So we want to expand that to other positions. I want to be able to train salespeople. I want to be able to train service advisors. And we've done some of that already with byproducts of TDP, but now I want to brand it. And I want to get rid of TDP because that doesn't really necessarily have an identity to it. Bring in Bozard University, have leadership training, have branding training, technician training, service advisor training, salesperson training, and we do it all in-house. Then the consistency's there. When the consistency's there, I don't have to worry about, well, did Johnny get hooked up with this person or did he get hooked up with that person?
Yeah.
It's consistent across the board.
So do you do all that in-store then?
We do all of it in-house.
Okay.
Now, we'll go out and seek content because we can't create all the content, so we'll go out and get content and mold it to who we are, to where it fits us. But yes, we do it all in-house.
And how do you deliver it? Do you have? So you mentioned high school students and students that are in school still, right? Are they coming to the store and sitting down? And is it like a classroom setting? Is it like an apprenticeship, like you started out in? What does that look like?
All the above.
Okay.
But how do we do it? Early and often. We get involved with high schools. We do field trips with high schools to bring them in, because there's people that think they want to go do this until they get out there.
Yeah.
But they may have something else at heart, and when they get exposed to it, then it kind of turns on those light bulbs. So we get involved with schools. We do field trips out to our store, or do little activities with them when they're there. And then once they join us, there's a path. They know what the next step is. And we do it in classroom training. Each department head's responsible for some of it, so that we're pushing down what we want them to have.
Yeah, that's great. So is it kind of all documented and built out, so every person that comes in gets really the same cadence of information? And how far does that go? Because you tell me what your most tenured technician is, but you probably, I would hope, have technicians that have been there 10, 20, 30 years. So what does that path look like? Is it a 5-year path? Is it a continuous path? What does it look like?
It takes about 2 years when you start green.
Yep.
To become a technician, become a line technician. And I want to talk about that a little bit deeper. But we'll start them in quick lane, because if you don't learn the basics, don't learn how to maintain a vehicle, you probably can't learn the other elements. Yeah. But also it introduces them to our culture. We want to make them team-based, so you have to work as a two-man team from the technician side of it. Then they graduate there 8 months to a year, move over to the tech development program where they actually work on cars with someone with them. They're doing the work, yeah. not the trainer. The trainer is there to help them do the work, but not do it for them. And they're there for 8 months to a year as well. They move out into the shop for 3 months as an apprentice to a senior master or a master tech, and then they break free and become a team member on that team.
Very cool.
So it's about 2 to 2.5 years, depending on the rate that employee takes it in.
Yeah. How does that fit in with like an ASE certification as an example? Is that something that you kind of lead into? Is it a parallel track? Is it something the tech does on their own? What does that look like in your store?
So the more stuff that a tech does on his own, the faster he can go through that. There is a lot of stuff out there. There's several different levels with ASE.
Right.
The more they want to contribute to that and do some self-education, so to speak, the faster it progresses them through there. But when they graduate TDP, they're electrically certified.
Yeah.
And we run them through the Ford stuff as well, because if you can't be electrical certified, you probably can't work on a car today.
Right.
And especially with the EVs coming to market. EVs is a rolling computer with a battery in it.
Yep.
And so they have to understand those elements. And if they reach out and do other things on their own, then that just puts them out in the shop that much faster. And to put that in perspective, because we do have some that do that, my shop foreman is 25 years old. And that is not the norm. The norm is the guy that's slowing down, has been doing it forever, and he's kind of slowing down physically, becomes your shop foreman.
Right.
But also on the flip side of that, my technical staff, because we've been doing this for 8 years, my technical staff, 67% of them are 30 or less. And that's huge, because that's the opposite of the industry. The industry is 67% is a 50 or above.
Yep. Now, does that have an impact too, just tying it back to what we were talking about earlier with data protection and cybersecurity, having a staff that skews a little bit younger, does that have an impact for you?
Those guys are more tech savvy,
right?
So they're more apt to click on something. But that's why I want to reach out to somebody on the outside, because we're so focused on what we're doing on the inside.
Yeah.
If I redirect those things, then I'm slowing everybody down. I'm not just slowing that person, I'm slowing everybody down. So it's good to have you guys to be able to partner with and do some of that with. But yes, these guys have grown up in the technology age.
Yeah, and never not had a phone almost.
Exactly.
Right?
And they haven't ever been exposed either. So painting the picture of what the exposure could be, it sometimes can be tough.
Yeah.
But it's just about creating the opportunity to move forward and bring the right people in when we need to.
Yeah, definitely. I saw you wave there. I was telling you before we started recording, you're like a celebrity in our world here. You know, you've been on a ton of different podcasts and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. Why is that so important to you? I mean, you make time for it, it seems, constantly to be on some segment with somebody, including this one. And I mean, I really appreciate it, what you're doing today, but what you've done with us in the past and a bunch of other places where you're just sharing knowledge. So what about that do you enjoy? Because it's your time that you're given.
I want to give back. This industry has been wonderful to me. I was given an opportunity when I got in it. I grew up in very humble beginnings, so I never imagined being where I'm at. But it shows that anybody with the right attitude and the right effort and that little extra oomph,
there you go,
can do some things that they didn't think they could, and it's happened to me. And I want to make sure I give others that opportunity. So anytime that I can give back, I want to learn something along the way as well.
Yeah.
But it helps them as well.
Sure. So what are some of the things that, it seems like, again, you have just a great diverse background and you're passionate about a lot of stuff. If you had 3 topics, right? I mean, we've touched on a couple, but if you had 3 topics that you want to make sure that you get to talk about or share that people pay attention to, could you bucket those? Like, what are the 3 biggest things that you want to make sure everybody takes away?
Well, I'll give you a couple that are fresh, because those things change depending on what's going on. But people emulate what they see.
Yep.
So I tell my people all the time, come in with a purpose. And in way too many industries, we come in to survive the day. We become very reactionary rather than proactive. And what I mean is, when you come in, you don't really know what your day is going to look like until you get rolling. And then all of a sudden, the day owns you, and you clock out, whatever you do, and you go home, you think, man, I didn't get anything done today.
We've all been there.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you come in with a purpose, if you come in with something in particular that you want to work on, at some point you're going to get to work on it. And today you don't, tomorrow you do. But if I can't ask you what your purpose today is, and you give me an answer within 5 seconds, you don't have one. So always, always, always have a purpose, no matter who you are. And when I say people emulate, when they see you always being effective, they want to be effective as well. Be intentional with hiring. We don't hire somebody that can just fog a mirror. They have to fit who we are. Yeah. And some people can be great in their industry, but not necessarily fit us. And we don't need those disruptors. They may fit in somewhere else. Nothing wrong with them, just don't fit the direction that we go in. And I'd rather them be in a place that they fit well than a place that they don't fit well. Yeah. So you have to be really intentional with your hiring. And then always have an opportunity for people to grow. People want to be, and a lot of times generational, we talk about generations where it's tough to get millennials to do this, it's tough for this, and I wonder what A is going to be like, the alphas are going to be like. But reality, millennials and Zs, they want to know what tomorrow looks like. What can I do next?
Yeah.
And as long as you have that dangling out there, they'll keep working hard for you. And some of them will chase it, and some of them won't. But as soon as you take it away, then they leave you.
Yeah. So I want to circle back around and just double click on the idea of hiring intentionally. You said that and it kind of clicked real quick. How do you do that, right? In a world where you mentioned a tech shortage, and a shortage, that phrase has been used for a long time, to your point, but the reality is there aren't enough people to fill the jobs in the back of the store, in the front of the store. Unfortunately, we have turnover in our industry. So how do you do that? How do you be selective when you need somebody to do the work?
So you have to have core values. And when I say that, those core values, your hiring core values may be different than your core values of the store. For us, it's 3 C's. It's character, competency, and chemistry.
Okay.
Character, are they somebody that we want to represent our brand? Out in the world, do we want them out there representing our brand? Do we want them carrying our brand on their shirt?
They're going to have the name on the shirt, right?
Absolutely. And that's a judgment call, but it's an element to asking the right questions. You can kind of figure those things out. The chemistry piece, and this is the most important piece to me, can they fit in? And not just fit in. What can they bring to my team that makes my team better? So what are they bringing to the team that makes us better? And can they fit within? That's the chemistry element. And then the competency piece, because we have so many development programs, that's more, are you trainable?
Yeah.
I don't mind if you can't do the job, but I want to know if you're trainable. If you're kind of stuck in your ways, you probably don't necessarily fit us. And we get those as well. And they'll do fine. There's enough work out there for them, but I want someone that wants to grow.
Yeah.
So if you hit those 3 C's, then there's probably an opportunity for you. And when you do those things and you're intentional, you don't have a shortage of people. We've went from 7 technicians to almost 100 in 10 years. And when you can do those things and have a laundry list of people that want to come to work for you, and they wait 2 years to get an opening with you, that takes a lot off our plate and allows us to be more proactive and work on things that help the business, rather than try to find people to keep the business going.
It sounds like strategically then you're going further downstream than just waiting for somebody to give you an application, right? It sounds like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like you're not waiting, you're not reactive waiting for people to come to you and say, I want a job. You're going out and pulling them forward and really putting them into a path, and it gives you an opportunity to evaluate, even the idea of being coachable, right? To being trainable. You can figure that out when somebody's going through your program, and within probably a few weeks if it's somebody that is going to continue to learn and grow.
Well, there's times that people will show up that's very, very capable.
Yeah.
And they'll show up because they've left somewhere else, or are thinking about leaving somewhere else because there's a disagreement. Well, there's a disagreement because they don't necessarily fit those elements of what they're trying to do at that store. And rather than come around and mold yourself to it, you'd rather resist and just leave them. Well, they'll do the same thing for you. So you have to stand for something. If sometimes we have to hire people in most industries to fill a role, but if you can slow it down, the impact's so much greater.
Yeah. So talk about that growth you just mentioned. So you said 9 techs, is that right? To almost 100. Okay, a couple questions. You probably didn't have 100 bays to fill 10 years ago, so what did that look like from a physical space perspective? Because I think a lot of people today are in a situation where their biggest issue is capacity, right? Either they don't have enough techs, they don't have enough bays, or in a lot of cases both. So, how do you fix that? Either growing physically, hiring more people, or becoming more efficient. Those are kind of your 3 levers. So curious what that journey looked like for you, 10xing in size over the period of 10 years.
Let's look at it from a store standpoint. I was the 43rd employee 10 and a half years ago.
Okay.
And we're 322 today.
Wow.
And so that's multiple different things. And then there's a couple other businesses that we have there. So we got over 500 people on the ground earning a paycheck, where it was 43 10 years ago. But when you get everybody rowing in the same direction, it just continues to roll downhill. And once you got that ball rolling downhill, you have to continue to pave the highway for that traffic to come. So yes, we had to go from 26 bays to 39 bays to then 98 bays, and then adding on some mobile trucks to be able to do that. And going forward, mobile is where it's going to be. Do I ever foresee us being bigger than what we are structure-wise for the brands that we have? No, because remote service has just exploded over the last 3 or 4 years, where we can go to a customer and take care of them rather than them have to take a day off of work, come in, spend some time, whatever it may be. We can go to them or go out and pick their vehicle up and bring it to us. And BEVs screams that even more.
Yeah.
BEVs, there's 80% less moving parts.
Right.
So with 80% less moving parts, they don't need the level of service that we would typically. We don't have to go out and change the oil. So everything that we have to do to those things, we can do remotely. We can go out and do software updates. We can go out and change tires and cabin air filters. We can do all those things remotely. And now we're talking ownership experience.
Yep.
And when we give a customer the ownership experience that they want, they become loyal.
You're right.
And when they become loyal, I'm not conquesting. Yep. When I'm not conquesting, then I'm saving that money that I would be doing on customer acquisition.
Yeah. So real quick, sorry, I want to go down this too because I'm curious. On the mobile service, exploded for you. You've been kind of on the cutting edge of this stuff, figuring it out, getting out there. You got vans fitted, and but I'm curious what types of service you're doing. I think about somebody coming to my house or to the parking lot at work or whatever, and having a technician crawl under the car and somebody being like, what is going on out there, right? You can't change the oil in a parking lot. That's not allowed. So what types of service are you doing today in today's world where you're going out and dispatching and doing the work, whether it's at somebody's home or work?
So we talk a lot about what we can do rather than what we can't do.
Yes.
And I challenge people all the time when they ask, what can you do with mobile? Go out and walk through your shop and see what these guys are doing. A lot of times they're working on cars in your shop without even opening the hood. Well, if they're doing that, they don't need that lift.
Yeah,
they don't need to take up space there. So those things can be done. Service, as far as changing oil, yes, we can do that in field. I don't necessarily like to because there is other exposures, maybe spilling oil or whatever else. We do it. We do several hundred oil changes a week out in field, but it's not something I push for. We do it out of necessity. But you can take the right precautions, and we got layers of protection to be able to prevent from spilling anything. But there's so much more that we can do. Let's talk about if you brought your vehicle into me, you bought it a year ago, you noticed something didn't fit right on it when you bought it.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily something you're going to take a day off of work for. But now your check engine light comes on, I fix your check engine light, and you tell me about that while you have it. Well, that's a piece of trim that was maybe stepped on before it was installed or whatever it may be. Sure. It's warped or whatever. I have to order that. When it comes in, you didn't want to come into me for the first year to get it checked out. You certainly don't want to come into me again for that. Your car's working fine. It's rather than call you 25 times and tell you to come get your part, I can go to you. Say, your part came in. I can come out to you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
So make it a convenience rather than inconvenience. Yep. So there's so many things we could do with mobile.
Yep. Now, are you doing a full multi-point or a kind of pared down multi-point? What are you doing from an inspection perspective on the mobile service? Because obviously that's a big way to bring business into the shop and even follow up and bringing the work back in after it's declined and everything else. So what does that look like in the field?
Infield is exactly the same.
Okay.
It's like you going to the doctor annually for a physical.
Yep.
They're going to check certain things. They're going to check your blood pressure, whatever. I need to check those same things on that vehicle because those are the safety elements of that vehicle. And if I'm only going to check half the safety elements, am I really taking care of you? So I want to check them all. I want to look at all those things. But also, more so than that, it allows you to better plan. If you're always good, now you need to spend $1,000.
Right.
You didn't have a chance to plan for that. But if you're always good, hey, you're getting close here. You probably got this much time left. Now you can start planning for it.
Yeah.
And it's not a surprise to you. So then it's not if you do it with me, it's a matter of when you do it with me.
Right. Okay. So have you noticed a difference at all in basically closing percentage on upsells, field versus in-store? Is there a difference at all?
There's absolutely a difference. I'm glad you asked that question. Video has made its way into vehicle service.
Yep.
A lot of stores don't embrace it yet. But the reason why it's made its way in is because showing sells.
Absolutely.
And when you can take a video of somebody's car and show it to them, they say, okay, yeah, I understand that. Because there's always that little thought in the back of their mind, my car's been stopping fine, why do I need brakes? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't need brakes when they're worn down because the pedal feels different. So they're worn down because they're not going to be there much longer if you don't. But with mobile, I don't even have to take a video. I show the customer, hey, if you got a second, let me show you this. And when you show them something live, it's not a question of whether they do it. It's whether they do it then or not.
Wow. Okay, that's great. That's great. I was really curious because it's hard to bring somebody back into the shop, right? You don't want to do that. There's insurance reasons not to do it. There's a lot of reasons not to bring them back into the shop. But if you're at their place, come check this out. You're right. It's a heck of a lot easier close.
Well, another thing you do with mobile is you have a good communicator there as well.
Okay, yeah.
And he doesn't have to be as highly skilled of a technician because I'm not opening up an engine, I'm not opening up a transmission. We think that we have to have the guys that can overcome all the obstacles. We're not getting that deep out there. That's when we do a pickup and deliver and we go get it and bring it into the shop. But that guy has good technical skills, just maybe not as wide breadth as some of the others, but he's also a good communicator. So now I'm dealing with one person. I'm not getting a second party story that's going back and forth.
Right.
And it just raises the level of trust.
Yeah, that's great.
Report building.
Good. All right, well, we've touched on a lot, Ed. I appreciate you taking so much time off the floor. I'm sure you got a million things to do.
It's fun. Glad to be out here.
Yeah, good. Well, I appreciate you. Anything that we haven't touched on that you want to talk about before we wrap?
Keep doing what you're doing, and if you guys out there that's watching this have not done something to be prepared for June 9th, Reynolds is a great partner to help you get over that hurdle, and don't wait until something happens. Do something now.
I appreciate it. All right, well, Ed Roberts, again, thank you very much. I hope you have a great weekend in Dallas here at the show, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Greg.
All right, thanks.